Hello, everybody. Let me make sure my stream is up and running. Okay, this stream is very, very different than any stream I've done in the past. Sorry. I'm checking my stream to make sure everything's up and running properly. And actually, my stream has not actually started yet on that end. Okay, why is this? Anyway. Uh, really hoping. I'm. Y'all can probably hear this, and I'm sorry if you can. I know this is going to turn a lot of people off to this stream, so I just really, really want to make sure this works. I don't want to start talking, and then it starts up in the middle of it and all that. Okay, says I'm live and everything. So I'm gonna assume I'm live at this point, and there's gonna be a few minute or two of lag and whatever. The reason I'm doing this live is because I'm not very good at editing or uploading on that. I have a lot of problems with my computer, and I use it for a lot of different things, including work, and I can't have my thing bogged down long enough to both record and do it as well as upload it. That being said, I want to make a few things clear. This is the first Freedom Act video I have done. It may be the only one I end up doing. I may end up doing the all cards on the table, as I've talked about in the past in a few of my gaming videos. While my channel up to this point has been nothing but gaming, there is some things about news and politics I do want to talk about from time to time, and whether or not I put this in entertainment or news and politics or gaming, or how I end up labeling this in the future, I do not know. But on what's mushrooms? Okay. Anyway, my stream was messing up there a little bit. Sorry. It wouldn't be a cooked pineapple stream if I didn't, mess everything up right at the very beginning, as I always do. Okay. Steam. Before I get to any of this at all, I want to make a few things clear. One, I'm not trying to attack this person. I'm not trying to do anything like that. And if I make any of these in the future, I'm gonna trust this. I'm not trying to attack them. I'm not trying to belittle their point. I do personally believe in true freedom of speech and true freedom and expression of ideals. That being said, I would just as happily as I am to go talk to you guys about what I personally believe these points are wrong, and try to use as much logic and common sense I have at my disposal to help debunk and talk about these ideals. I would just be just as happy for someone doing the same to me, as long as they give me the same courtesy. The courtesies I'm talking about is I'm not going to be attacking people just for being people. I'm gonna try my hardest never to do that. Maybe one or two offhanded comments to send people who just absolutely get on my nerves and all of that. I know I don't have the best speaking voice or anything like that, so I'm sorry for that regard. Two, I wanted to go ahead and let you know about the fair use notice and disclaimer. I want to go ahead and mention that this disclaimer, I'm using this video for the sole purpose of teaching and education, and that is protected under fair use. Anyone trying to take down this video is abusing copyright laws, and the channels can be taken down for this. Like I said, education. I'm gonna try to stop it every now and then and have this image pop back up so y'all can remember it. That also being said, I also wanted to mention the fact that I am doing this live. It's gonna be a little bit of latency and lag and stuff like that on that end. I also wanted to mention the fact I'm asking you guys nicely. I'm putting the video in the description so that you can watch it to prove that I have not edited, messed with it in any regard. The video is in its fullest. Okay? I'm not editing it down. I'm not changing anything. I'm not misrepresenting what he's saying because he's saying it. Okay? That is the only reason I'm putting this in his link in the description. So those of y'all who see this video, didn't know about his video, and decide to go attack him for his views, I urge you not to do that. If you must leave a comment, make it a constructive one. Bring up some good arguments and stuff like that. I don't want trolls. I don't want people who are just angry with him, who may not know exactly how to express themselves other than cussing and stuff like that, leaving comments. I'm not saying you can't leave a comment. I'm just saying I'm not endorsing this, nor am I recommending y'all to go do this. Okay. All that out of the way. Just want to kind of get some of that out of the way and everything. I'm sorry. I had a lot planned and I wasn't able to get everything done that I wanted to do, and I gotta breathe because I gotta stay calm during this and all that. Alright. All that being said and everything, let's get to some of the points. Also in the description will be the Steam blog. Okay, the post that we'll be talking about. While I have read it, I'm not going to be, quoting it word for word or anything like that. There's a few misconceptions that he has about what they were saying, and I wanted to clear some of that up. Now, some of the stuff I do want to talk to y'all about, and I did want to bring up this analogy. He likes to bring up the fact that Steam is a marketplace. Okay, while game marketplaces, especially in the eyes of the law, have been relatively new and everything, and unlike marketplaces we have nowadays, like Walmart, Walgreens, and all that, the law hasn't recognized them for quite as long and all that. So I will be referencing his marketplace analogies. I will be matching with one of my own. I'll get to some of those more points in a second. But I do want to ask everyone, before you watch this video, before you continue like this, I want everyone to think for a second. Especially with Fahrenheit 451, came to theaters not too terribly long ago. First off, great book if you haven't read it. Great time to think about these kind of concepts. At what point does government and companies control what you can and can't do? And you're probably thinking to yourself, how does this have to do with Steam? The controversy with Steam right now is Steam basically said, we're going to let our consumers decide for themselves, and instead of trying to regulate our content, we're going to focus more on giving people the tools that they need to regulate for themselves. Okay? For tagging systems and things along those lines. Okay? So, does a company, yes, in all right, in all legality, has the choice to decide what it can and cannot sell. For instance, Walmart refuses any sellers that sell sex toys. Okay? That's a not necessarily a very good analogy, but they have that right to refuse it. Okay? And a lot of us can see that right and be like, okay, fine. But legally, they have the right to sell certain things. Some of the more phallic and things like that, they legally couldn't. But without having to be over the age of 18 to sell it. Like, be in the store at all. Like, vibrators, stuff. Anyway, I'm getting out of topic, okay? And I don't mean the long ones. Anyway. They have that right to decide what they do and do not sell. But, as a consumer, and a lot of people can attest to this and all this, what stores do y'all go to and why? Okay, if you really think about it, okay, a lot of people in more urban cities will say, well, I go to Walmart or Walgreens or some of these bigger stores. And when you ask them why, well, the better prices. Well, it's like, what if another store came in right now with better prices? Would you go there? It's like, yeah, probably, because they have more options. They have more variety. They have a lot more stuff that they sell you, and you can get a lot more of your goods and services there. Okay, so let's take Walmart versus a family store. Okay, in my town, and actually it's Brookshire's versus Family Dollar. Okay, Brookshire's is a little bit out of our way, but a lot of times we will go there. Okay, just because it provides us not with necessarily cheaper prices, because sometimes Family Dollar is cheaper, sometimes Brookshire is cheaper, but because when we go there, we have more options what we can get. There's more fresh meat there, there's more options, and all that. So, does a company with more options, but the possibility of low quality goods, that let's say consumers decide, do we want these low quality goods? Is that better than a company that heavily regulates what you get but has no chance of low quality goods? Everyone's gonna answer differently. That's again why I'm not trying to attack this person. So let's get into some of his points and all that. I just wanted y'all all to kind of think about that concept for a second and everything.
Today I'm left with no choice but to inform you all that Valve Corporation, Valve, responsible for Half-Life, Valve, headed up by Gabe Newell, Valve, they made Portal, Valve fully endorses AIDS Simulator, a game it is selling.
Okay, let's start with that. The whole premise of his video, everything like that. Valve endorses AIDS Simulator. That's actually the name of his video and all that. Do they? See, we think of endorsements in a lot of different ways. Okay? Let's say right now I was to say I endorse Crowfall, which I haven't played much of it, but it's the first game that came to mind. Okay? Would that mean I'm selling that game? Would it mean to you that I'm somehow giving you that product? Or do most of y'all know that when I say I endorse the game, I mean again paid by the company to say that, which again I'm not, no endorsements here or anything like that. I'm literally just using this as an example, and Crowfall is the last game I played. It was the first one on my mind. Or does it mean to most people that, oh, this guy likes this game, he enjoys this game, he's trying to use this to recommend us this game? In the legal sense of endorsement, that means you are backing a product or service. Okay? Simply by selling something, it does not back that service. Okay? See, that's the whole legal reason of the free marketplace, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay? Free marketplace is, in a sense, something where you can sell anything you want to, and it's solely up to the consumer whether or not they buy it or not. Now, if Steam came out today and told you to buy this game, if it popped up on your recommended list, if it popped up in your can't think of the tab for it now, anyone who uses Steam knows exactly what I'm talking about, but the list of 11 to 12 games every day, saying, hey, your queue, your queue. Okay, that's what it's called. Okay, if it came up in your queued games, which for y'all who don't play Steam and all this, Steam to help you try to help support the market and buy more games and stuff like that, will take the games you played, the tags you have liked and favorited. Okay, we'll take those genre of games, especially the more money you spend on a game, the more likely they are to put it in. The more hours you play on a game, the more genre it's supposed to play in. So let's say I played a bunch of racing games, owned a bunch of racing games. My queue would be filled up with mostly new titles or high profit or AAA title racing games. These are the games Steam is saying, hey, why don't you buy this game? Hey, why don't you? These are the games Steam's are endorsing. Okay, the ones that come up in your queue and you'll recommend it. A title like this, which I guarantee he had to go and like out of his way to find. He's not even signed in right now. I honestly have no idea how he found this game and all that. To be perfectly honest, I've never seen the game on Steam Market, and I was actually just on the market the other day looking for shooters in particular. So, and this is tagged as an action game shooter. Okay. Anyway, I was looking up for tags very similar to this, if not exactly similar, casual, indie, and I was looking up those individually and trying to see what kind of games they had and see if I could find a good game to play. So, and I never came across it. Never came across anything like it, only like that. For me personally, I've never came up against any of these like really trash games people talk about or anything like that, because me as a consumer, I stay away from them and don't buy them. Now, there may be someone out there where this game came up on their queue, and if you can show me proof that this came up on someone's queue, this came up on someone's recommended list, if Steam was pushing this game to somebody, then I would fully say that yeah, Steam's endorsing this game to that person. Okay. Steam's still an algorithm, just like YouTube doesn't endorse videos like mine just because it recommends it to you. Maybe a very similar concept. And actually, when I was thinking about this video, I didn't even think about using YouTube as an example that they've recommended it. But they also have a stricter guideline and stuff. Anyway, so is Steam endorsing this game? I don't believe so. Okay, and for the sole fact is they're not putting it in people's queues. They're not putting it on the top of people's list. The people themselves who are playing the game aren't endorsing it. And I bet you the reason you can't see the reviews and the reason he signed out to do it was because if you went and go find this game right now, they would have absolutely horrible reviews, which is why it doesn't get endorsed by Steam. Why it doesn't get endorsed by the public. Because in all honesty, Steam's a community. What Steam endorses goes off two factors. How the game got to be there, like take AAA titles like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, will most likely get way more endorsed than if I would release the title right now. Even if it would fit all the criteria that I mentioned earlier for the queue, it probably wouldn't get endorsed by them for that queue because my game's going to make a lot less money. It has a lot less impact than their game. Okay. But also a community thing. If people in the general public have highly reviewed this game and highly enjoyed it, it's more likely to show up on everybody's list. You know, the queue list, on the most relevant, top selling, stuff like that. You kind of have to go out of your way half the time to find games like this. That being said, let's see what else he says. And sorry, I said I was going to put the copyright thing up. I'm going to put it up real quick. Yeah, because I did forget to. Sorry. Let's keep going.
Right now on Steam, and I say Valve fully endorses it as per what it said just this week in a blog post where Valve stated it's fully committed to doing fuck all regarding quality control on Steam. It has in fact confirmed that it is 100% behind the idea of letting absolutely everything, and we mean everything, up on Steam without vetting. Their one proviso is that it has to be legal. So long as you're not uploading crimes to Steam's storefront, they'll sell it for you quite happily.
See, that's not 100% true. Okay. Now he does say later in this video that they will also take down trolling games, which therefore say it's not the only provider that's illegal. Okay. And yes, that is basically what Steam did say. Anything that is illegal or that is clearly trolling, they will take down. 100%. And I'm fine with that. But here's the thing. Happily selling you shite games. Okay, games that really kind of interest nobody and not many people are gonna play and things like that. Do they really happily sell you those games? Well, yes, a lot of people say, yeah, they happily sell it to you and all that because they do sell it. They get a little bit of revenue from it. It's a win-win for everybody. But here's the thing. While yes, to some people there is a market for shite games, like that later on in this video he actually brings up that point. And I actually watched a YouTuber the other day who made a big portion of his channel off of playing Sonic fan games. Which, yes, that's apparently a thing. I knew Sonic fan games were a thing. I didn't know someone made a channel based off just playing them and completing them. Sorry. I gotta take a breath every now. They're not necessarily happily selling you them. See, if they were happily selling them to you, they're selling them to you, and yes, they are happy about it. But I wouldn't categorize it as happily selling to you. That's a turn of phrase meaning that they're 100% full aware that this is always going on and this is a guarantee. If basically, let's say I was selling you a computer, or let's go even more simple than that. I am selling you a vehicle, a car. Okay, I knew the engine was about to blow. I knew the oil hasn't been changed in years. The the transmission is being held on by duct tape and glue. Okay, and the spark plugs are like a week away from going out. But it runs. It runs well enough to make. And I've just cleared the check engine light. I cleared it myself manually. Which, yes, you can't do that. You normally have to have a device to do it. But anyway. I've just cleared the check engine device, and I'm selling it to you. I know all these problems are going on. But I'm selling it to you anyway, in the belief that you do not know that these problems are going on. Okay? That, technically, if I'm not mistaken, is illegal. Don't hold me to that. I believe that actually is considered a con. But that would be happily selling you a shite product. I know it's crappy. I know it's going to break down within a little while. But to your eyes and to everything you're aware of, the problems aren't there. And I can always claim anonymity. I didn't know that was going on. The check engine light I thought came on because I left the gas cap off by accident. I could claim those things, and there'll be a whole court case that I know done. Anyway, that would be happily showing you shite. Or if I was going to eBay right now and tell you I made this product myself, but I know the product's quality is not up to a real company standards. Okay, like let's say I made my own. Let's say I was a cobbler and I made my own shoes. Okay, and I knew for a fact the glue wasn't. I had to stretch out the glue, so I used very little of it. The string I used for the sewing technique was very thin, and just the shoe looked absolutely horrible. But the picture I put on eBay was a beautiful shoe, my ideal product, and I sold you the crappy one instead. That's happily selling you crap. Okay, that's happily selling you BS. But when you have a marketplace, and I'm gonna go back to Walmart for a minute. Let's say I'm a toy company. Okay, I've made this toy. Okay, it meets all regulations, which actually is not that hard to do because the toy industry, if I remember correctly, unless laws have changed since the last time I looked up this part of the law, toy companies do not have to submit themselves to harder testing, but have the choice to do so. Most companies will not, unless they know for a fact that product's 100% safe, because the FDA has to report any findings, good or bad. Okay. So if they're all good and you know your product 100%, you do the extra testing. You pay the money to do the extra testing to prove to the world your product is just that much better. Alright. That being said, let's say I'm a toy company and I sell you a stuffed bear. I made this thing as cheaply as possible. It's gonna break and tear easily. It's meant for kids, and just because of the way kids are, I know almost 100% fact that this teddy bear is gonna break in a couple of days. Just because of crappy design and all that. Would you then say, okay, and I get Walmart to sell me this sell this product on my behalf? Okay, they don't make commercials about it. Walmart doesn't go stop making commercials about it. It's still up to me to do the advertising for it. Okay, still up to me to do all the advertisement and stuff like this. All I did was say, hey, you're a marketplace. You're selling a bunch of goods. Will you also sell my goods? Is it the responsibility of Walmart to make sure that that product will not break down? Okay. Is it Walmart's responsibility to test that product? No. Okay. It is still up to the responsibility of the parents or the consumer who is buying this product to look up reviews beforehand. Alright. So if a toy is being sold through Walmart, okay, and that toy has a notorious reputation for breaking on its first or second day, if not coming out of the box broken, and stuff like that, is it Walmart's responsibility? Okay. No. It is the company that manufactured the toy. Same things can be said about game and media. Okay. Again, we gotta put Steam in some kind of zone that we're always legally familiar with, so that we can best suit the laws to its needs. It is, in essence, okay, a marketplace with a community. Okay, so it is a social media marketplace, similar to Amazon or Walmart websites, stuff like that, where you can communicate with one another, make a wish list for things you want, and all that. They just specialize in selling games and software. Okay, which I've actually bought quite a bit of software off of Steam. So, in that exact same regard as Walmart would not be responsible for the crappy toy being sold, Steam would not be responsible or be considered happily selling a broken game. Okay, now should there be no quality control? That's a bit of an issue. Okay, because as he will mention soon, and as I've been mentioning, there is a marketplace for badly designed objects and games. There's a lot of YouTubers who will record that video for content saying, hey, let's all make fun of how bad this game is, or people doing unboxing with their kids. Let's see my kid play with this. Oh no, it broke. Let's see how crappy this game is. There's reviews that can make profit off of these crappily designed games and products. So, a marketplace, in essence, is supply and demand. That's all it is. If there was no demand for products like these, there would be no supply. So, should Steam be able to sell it? Yes. Should there be a little bit of quality control to make sure that games can run? Period? Yes. There should be a little bit. But those games can also be classified as troll games if they don't run at all, that doesn't meet the standards. Now, Steam's also a big company. It has a huge marketplace. There's gonna be things that slip through the cracks. That's just anything. That being said, let's continue to his video. We're only a minute in, and it's an 8-minute long video, and I've already been recording for a while now. So, yay! Let's continue.
This includes asset flips such as Unreal Engine maps that are there for devs to learn how to make games. They're not intended for public selling. They're fine and dandy, and of course they have Steam's blessing. They have Valve's endorsement, which of course is their right, but let's cut to the fucking chase. You can't walk into a random Kroger and put your own groceries up. No.
You're right. You're right. Okay, let's take that point, because I just tackled the endorsement point and all that. And again, with the maps and stuff like that, asset maps, depending on the price, I know a lot of people who buy asset maps just because they like to mess around with it. They want to see if they can flip it and stuff like that. Now, asset flips and stuff like that, that falls more under, does it fall under fair use of the product, or does it fall under trolling, or does it fall against copyright laws in general? Like if you took Witcher 3, changed all the assets in it to a different color but kept the core gameplay the same, would that be against the law? So again, asset flips kind of fall into that same kind of gray category. Witcher 1's, perfectly clear. But I know a lot of people who do buy the dev kind of stuff so they can see it, or even produce it themselves so that they can sell it to our companies or work on it, or use it to learn to how to make games. Okay? Like, because some of that stuff can be incredibly useful. You get that info, that pre-built stuff, you figure out how it's built. If I change these things, what does it change in game? Oh, it changed that. Let's see if I can't change this. Use this same engine that's free that I'm allowed to use something that's already pre-built, and see if I can't change it to acquire my needs to save me that extra little bit of time in making something. Okay? It does a marketplace for it. Now, his point about you can't go on to Kroger and just put up your homemade food. True. But again, that's technically against the law to do. Okay? Now, he said food. And very specifically, he said food, because I'm assuming he's smart enough to know if he would have said anything else, that's not 100% true. Okay. Let's start with the food thing. The FDA has regulations on foods. Very heavily, in fact. Okay? Alright. I work in the food industry, so I do actually know this. To some extent. I've been a part of audits and things along those lines, and inspections, and anyway, I'm getting off topic. I like to ramble. If I was to go right now to my local store, or Clothes Greens or anything like that, with just my homemade out of the pot food, it would be 100% illegal for them to sell it. Okay? Which, if you're applying this to Steam, they said they will not sell illegal goods. Okay? So, therefore, that would fall under the you can't do it part. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, what about your earlier example, you're a toy maker and you have a factory and all that? What, indie devs, indie creators. Good point. Okay. Let's go to something, let's stick on the food, actually. Okay? Let's say I can make jam like none other. Okay? Which I actually do know how to make jam and all that, but mine doesn't ever turn out very, very good or anything like that. I know how to make jam. I can make jam. Okay? I can slap a leg. I have the glass jars required to sell it. Okay? I decided to spend all night making me 12 jars of jam. I can sell it. Okay? Let's say somehow, for some reason, I have the license to be able to sell my jam. It went through FDA approval and all that, and I've been selling it online so far. Okay? So first off, we're talking about people who are trying to make a career out of it and stuff like this. So we're going to go ahead and assume that these people have all the license for it and all that. Same with games, with the exception you don't actually need any license to make a game. I could go use my RPG Maker right now to make a game and try to sell it to Steam. Or through Steam. Okay? Right now, the jam would need license and stuff like that. Let's throw that out the window just for a second, so we can have a one-to-one comparison with games. Okay, we have all the required material, items, assets, and times to make the jam. Okay, you go to Walmart. Okay, they regulate their stuff. Okay, but not by a quality control, but by a quantity and supply and demand. See, unlike a digital market like Steam is, where you can have nearly an infinite library, okay, of materials, in the real world, okay, and he mentions the, like bringing it into the real world and all this, we have things like population, or not supply, demand, and space. Okay, we have to add that third thing to marketing. See, Walmart, okay, which prides themselves on selling a lot of goods and stuff like this, probably won't sell my jam. Okay, well, the sole fact is they do not know. They have no proof, unless I've been selling it online, like I said, and I have, marketable numbers. They have no reason to take space away from something they know is selling, to replace with something that may be selling. Okay. Whole greens, just like he said, same thing. They have no logical reason to take away space from something that is selling for something that they don't know is selling. Because there's a space dynamic in this concept that I don't think he understands. Okay? So there's more. If I was to develop jam, and if I was a company, okay, let's say in this case I'm the company, and you came to me with your jam, I would be taking a risk for selling your jam. Okay? Now let's say I'm an online market that I just ship your goods. Okay? You don't even have a factory. You ship your goods to me, and then I ship them to who needs them. That space dynamic is no longer there. I'm an online market. Okay? So I'm now able to sell a lot more goods. So there's less risk involved. Now take a market like gaming. Now, before we go on to gaming, let's stay into the food market. Now, because he used the example for food, I'm going to use the example for food too. Okay? Now, there's still a risk involved for me. You could poison your food and be sending it out and by trying to use my company to spread it worldwide so that poison kills as many people as possible. That's a risk I will be taking. Again, that's the reason we have FDA regulations and things along those lines. So I have to submit your thing to testing, okay, to make sure it's up to FDA standards and is legal to sell, okay? Now, I'm Steam, okay? You send me a product. I check it out. It has no copyright. Okay, you send me your jam. Let me stop jumping back and forth. Go back onto the jam, okay? You send me your jam. I sent it to FDA regulations. Okay, you haven't been poisoning your jam. It's all in the up and up. You meet all legal requirements. I ship it for you. Okay? But there's a price. Okay? Because I'm doing the shipping and all that. I'm going to charge this amount of it. Because it's on my website, I'm going to charge this amount for it and all that. And I'm going to sell you a licensing fee so you can say you're selling it on Amazon. Okay. Steam. Okay. When I send them a game, there is, as long as there's all legal things there, there's absolutely no risk. As long as it's not virus and doesn't break legal ramifications, you are able to sell it right now because there's no risk to Steam. Steam has a licensing fee, which is a small portion of every game they sell. Because in a way they are taking a risk by taking up, they take up server room, so there's a little bit of risk there, and a little bit of risk of how much should we promote your game and stuff like that. Well, you gave us no money, so we're not going to promote your game too terribly much. But because we have it on your library, if there's any controversy, we know that some people are going to backlash on us. So there's a little bit of risk, but not too terribly much. Alright. So it's one of those dynamics where in real life there's a space dynamic he doesn't think about, and he tries to use this analogy of going to Whole Greens and giving you food, when in all reality, not only if you're going by if that particular store was going by the exact same standards Steam was doing, and we're taking the equation of space completely out of it. Let's say they have full space, they have infinite space somehow, and I went up to Walgreens and tried to sell my food, my homemade meatloaf, up there. Okay, that if they were only looking to make sure you're not trying to troll or trying to sell things illegally, okay, then I would not pass. I would still not pass because that would be illegal. So your own analogy doesn't fit in this situation. And I have again been rambling and only a minute in, and there's still 7 minutes to this. Yay, let's keep going.
No one's going into grocery stores, bringing their own food that they cooked in their own oven at home and putting them on the shelves
Because it's illegal.
to sell, unless it's a Whole Foods, obviously. Because if you are selling something in your store, that means you're endorsing it, because welcome to the real fucking world. You exist in the real world, Valve, not just in this bubble of the internet where you think that nothing touches you, okay? And if you're
Sorry about that. I was a little distracted. Family member came in. Okay, let me start this over again. Wow, that was actually almost pinpoint perfect.
the fucking chase. You can't walk into a random Kroger and put your own groceries up. No one's going into grocery stores, bringing their own food that they cooked in their own oven at home and putting them on the shelves to sell, unless it's a Whole Foods, obviously. Because if you are selling something in your store, that means you're endorsing it.
That's not true. Okay, let's say Amazon. Great example for this thing. They sell both the Bible, the Quran, and the Nazi Bravado, which I can't remember the actual name of the book. Okay, they sell all three of those things. Okay, Nazi Bravado for sure. I'm almost 100% sure about the other two, but not 100% sure. They may have no religion policy, but I don't think so. So I should have done a little research on that. But I know for a fact, and the reason I know that for a fact, not because I bought it or anything like that, because a friend was actually sent me the link the other day about it, saying he should buy it for his girlfriend, who's German, as a joke. Okay. He also made a joke that I should read it because I'm part German in my ancestry. I told him no and all that. But anyway, I know for a fact. So does that mean Amazon endorses Nazism? Does it mean it endorses both Christianity and Muslim cultures? Or does it just mean that they are supplying what is in high demand for a profit? I'm just gonna let y'all think about that one. Does the simple fact of someone selling something means they're endorsing it? Or are they just giving them a platform so that they can sell it while making a profit on another person's dime? Okay. I was just going to leave it there, but let me explain this in a slightly different way. Think of marketplaces as a middleman, because that's what they are. You have a seller, a middleman, and a buyer. Okay? The seller, because they are selling this product, or not even seller, okay? Producer, seller, okay, buyer. Okay? The 3 points of industry. Producer, seller, buyer. Okay? Ideally, in a perfect world, for the cheapest possible price, you buy from the producer. Okay? because the producer has no secondary costs, no third costs, no added costs. They give you stuff at a slightly increase of the product value. If it takes $1 to make a plastic cup, a producer sells it for a dollar and a nickel. Okay, now that's a very low profit margin and all that. But there's a whole list of profit margins, different things that have different profit margins, and things like that. Now, the producer of the goods can't always get the items out to absolutely everyone who needs the item. Okay, so for a small markup, for the same profit margin they would sell to a normal person, they sell in bulk. Okay, to people who can sell their goods easier. Okay, again, let's take the toy I used earlier. Okay, the factory that produces the crappy toy. Okay, I produced it. That crappy toy costs me, let's say $1. Okay, and I'm not gonna get into full market economy and all that. Okay, Walmart. Okay, I made the deal with Walmart. Walmart agreed to sell my goods because they see there's a demand for it, so they're going to clear the space out for it and all that. I've been doing great marketing. A lot of people want the product and all that, so they're going to clear out the space and put my thing front and center. Not necessarily endorsing it, but putting it front and center so people who are walking by can see that product and want it. Similar to a queue in the thing earlier, even though I said that that's kind of endorsing it, but that's getting into a whole nother thing, and I'm kind of contradicting myself here, because in some ways I think that putting stuff into a queue for Steam and stuff like that is endorsing it, while at other times I don't know exactly how the algorithms work, how the queues work, or anything along those lines. It could all be 100% computer automated, which means it is just like it depends how you think of a queue. Do you think of queue as a Steam segmented ad, or do you think of queue as front and center in the walking area of a store? Okay, kind of depends on how you look at it. If it's the front and center, it's not endorsement. If it's an ad, if Walmart came out today and Walmart made a ad for that toy, they endorse it. If they put it front and center, they don't endorse it. Okay, so again, it kind of depends on how you look at the queues. So they clear out the space, they put it there, okay, knowing people want the toy. Okay, again, supply and demand. Okay, Walmart buys a bulk of this item. They buy, let's say, 100 units for a markup of 0.5%. Okay, so if it costs the factory $1 to make it, costs for every unit sent to them. Okay, so that 100 units, it costs the factory $100 to make that 100 units. Walmart buys them for 150. Okay, Walmart then needing to make a profit off of the initial loss they just made, mark it up even more. Okay, Walmart being a little bit more greedy, knowing that whether the factory can't send you anything except for big bolts of it or anything along those lines, or let's say they're the only place selling these games or things, they mark it up even more, profit margins, and they get a cut. Now, here's something interesting to think about. Have you ever seen a product with the label itself having a sell on it? Okay, best example of this is Sunkiss. At some stores have a label that say 99 cents on it. Okay, my local gas station, 2-liter Sunkiss, 99 cents. Because it's on the label, they have to sell it at that price. Okay, this is closer to what Steam does. Okay, the company has already predetermined the price. Okay, so the company, not the company, the seller buys in bulk, again, the item, but at different costs. Okay, let's say they are selling it for 99 cents. Okay, the company sells it at a markup, again, whatever it costs to make them, and then the predetermined markup from there is 99 cents. Okay, so the company is still getting a portion of it. Okay, as well as the seller is getting a portion of it. Okay, but the final price has already been predetermined. Steam works in a similar way. I make a game right now, I put it on Steam for $20. Okay, let's think of every time someone buys a game, that's me shipping a unit to the store. Okay, that game cost me time to make. Don't get me wrong. Okay, and we're not gonna get into the whole time dynamic and all that. But let's say it cost me virtually nothing to make. I made it all on my own personal time and everything. So any part markup on the game would be a pure profit gain markup. Pure profit margin. Let's say Steam, because I honestly don't know exactly how much they take. Let's say they take 1/4, okay, of the profits. Okay, that means I predetermine the price. Okay, so if you think about it as every time you buy that $20 game, I'm shipping a unit to you. Okay, because I do not have either the means or the want to sell in single units, I sold to bulk to Steam. So Steam has bought each unit for $15. So each unit I got $15 from. They then take that 15 to profit. Now the game is immediately worth minimum $15 because that's what they cost to get it game. Okay. Then they have to put a profit margin on that as well to make their profit. So they add an extra $5 to it, ending up with the final price of $20, which has always been predetermined by both me and the company. Okay? So that's how it works and stuff like that. It's not endorsement and all that, and I actually kind of forgot kind of what my original point was and all that. But the 3 points of seller, okay? And here's the thing. All responsibility falls on not the middleman, but the producer of the object. Okay? Best example for this, okay? Bluebell. I want to say about a year ago at this time, they had that big problem with bacteria growing within their factories or within their ice cream improperly and causing people to become sick and causing a recall. Okay? And this can be said for any recall that happens. Who was to blame? Was it all the little stores selling the ice cream to be blamed for that bacteria? Or the improper growth, for the bacteria that spread and grow that caused so many people to be sick? Or was it the company itself that sent out a faulty product? Well, according to current standards and current laws, the FDA and the government ruled that was Bluebell's responsibility. That's why they had to make a recall. That's why they had to take responsibility for all that happened. I hope that if he sees this video, he understands what I'm trying to get at, and I hope anyone who watches this video gets what I'm trying to get at. It's never the middleman. It's never the seller of the product itself that's responsible for its quality. It's never. It's almost always the fault of the producer of the product, the creator of the product, the one that makes it. If they have a faulty product, it is not the fault of a company for selling that product. Because in all honesty, they are nothing more than middlemen, doing nothing more than saying, hey, people want this good, I buy this good, I give you this good for a markup price. That's all a middleman, that's all these companies are doing. And in a way, it's all just for pure profit. Because if you really think about it, and there's some risk to owning a company like this, and all that, there's a lot of risk actually, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong and all that. So I'm not saying it's just that simple, but to simplify it in its most simplest terms, product, the producer, goes to a company, the middleman, because the middleman knows that that buyers want it. So they buy it in bulk for a cheaper price so they can sell it to people at a higher price. Okay, let's continue with this video because again rambling.
Because welcome to the real fucking world. You exist in the real world, Valve. Not just in this bubble of the internet where you think that nothing touches you, okay?
But does it? Again, I mentioned the point of space as also being a dynamic in whether or not you can sell a good in your company or in your service. Okay, Walmart in a sense is nothing more than a service, giving you what someone else has made. Okay, so if you really think about it, they do live in just a bubble of the internet because they don't have that space dynamic. I get what he's trying to go for. He's trying to say, well, you're subject to all the same laws as normal companies are, and all the same standards that other companies should be held to. And the thing is, they are. All companies will follow within the law and all that, but will gladly give you as many possible choices as they can within their thing. For the sole fact is, if they can give it to you at a reasonable price, they know that you'll buy it. As long as they can stay competitive with the better markets, okay, and all that, that you will buy from them, and people will sell to them. As simple as that. The only reason, let's take Walmart, who has a hand in everybody's cookie jar. Okay? The only reason Walmart doesn't sell you a lot more goods, okay, the average Joe's goods, who just happen to have the license and stuff like that, because they have a space dynamic and they can't afford the space to sell your good. But on an internet bubble, they kind of can. They can sell you just about anything. Take eBay, where it's person to person, producer to seller, okay? Or take Amazon, where if I wanted to right now, I could make a product right now on a semi-regular basis and make a contract with Amazon selling my things. In fact, the reason I know that is because there was a time when I was melting glass for just the fun of it until my propane ran out and I got horrible at it, and a lot of BS happened with that. But where I was melting glass and was planning on selling it to Amazon for Amazon to sell for me. I would ship it to Amazon whenever they sent me a request for it, and then Amazon will ship it from there. Third-party sellers. Third-party sellers don't have to be a official big company. They can be little indie companies. In fact, the person I bought my smelting glass kit from was a third party because the third party had the better product. So, yeah, they are in the real world in a sense, but they don't have to follow. They have to follow all the standards of real world, but they don't have that space dynamic, so they can increase their profit margins by selling more goods. And this is one of the big things where should companies control should companies do quality control, or should people do quality control? I know a lot of people who will go buy absolute garbage, in my opinion, because they haven't looked up reviews, they haven't looked up the product like I have, and all that. Those, in a sense, are bad consumers because they don't do the research ahead. In fact, there was a pair of recording glasses that I was thinking about getting not too long ago, and I looked up a lot of reviews on it, watched people on YouTube use them, found out that they break super easily. Okay? Well, my friend went online without doing any research, because we were both going to get a pair and all that. He went online and bought the same pair I was just researching, without thinking about it, he saw it on Amazon. It was a good price. He did no reviews. He didn't even check the rating on Amazon, which it was 3.5 stars on Amazon, but I watched it broke on not on the way here. He put it on and recorded once, and then it snapped in half while he was wearing it. Okay. The little earpiece that held up the glasses snapped off, just from the sheer weight of itself. Okay. Apparently there was a faulty fracture line in, not faulty front, faulty screwing in the hinges in the product. one of the reviews I watched. But that's a bad consumer. But that was on his thing. It was his responsibility. Not on. It was not the fault of Amazon. It was not the fault of the manufacturer made a crappy product, and they happily sold people crappy products. But it was on him for buying a faulty product. And I think the same is for. I think the same can be said for games that offend people. Okay, if you, or even bad games where they offend you, they don't fit what you're trying to play. Let's say again, let's go back to the fact. Let's say I play only racing games, and on Steam, Grand Theft Auto is classified as a racing game. Okay, well, yes, there's a lot of racing in it. I would kind of classify it as a driving sim more than a racing game, but racing game kind of closest to it. If I bought that assuming it was nothing but a racing game, and then I was disappointed with it, would that be on Rockstar's fault for me assuming something without doing the research? So who's at fault in everything? And I do believe a lot of it goes on to the consumer. And I'm not saying none whatsoever should ever go on to the seller. If they were truly promoting a product that was racist or sexist or something like that, then yeah, they can be at fault. But if they stay neutral, they don't try to do it, regulate at all, and they let consumers pick for themselves, then it's the consumer's responsibility to learn if that's a good game, if it fits kind of games they want to play. Let's say I don't like politically driven games, which I really don't most of the time. Okay, and I buy a game that's very politically driven, and I didn't do any research on it or anything like that. That's on me. I made a mistake of not checking. I made a mistake by not seeing how my money's being spent, and that's kind of the point I want to get at. All right, let's continue.
And if you think I'm being facetious, no, I'm just treating Valve how Valve clearly wants to be treated. I mean, this is all off the back of that active shooter game, that game about mass shooting, which had started to get mainstream and local news attention, where Steam was name-checked as selling it because, in the real fucking world, people will, and already have, there's historical precedent, in fact, as usual, I called it before it happened, people in the real world will see a shop selling edgy wannabe offensive garbage and will see Steam as fully responsible.
But will they? Well, in today's media-driven society, and that's also one of the reasons I don't do a lot of media-driven things. I don't watch news very often. I read a lot of my news if I read it at all, and I try to stay away from politically driven sites and stuff like that. I try my hardest to. Everyone always has an agenda, whatever they're doing. That is 100% fact. There's no denying. My sole agenda for doing this is because I'm tired of hearing things like this and not speaking out. So my agenda is to speak out and try to educate at least one person. Okay. That being said, okay, I'm gonna go to that Blue Bell thing again. Okay, now I know some of y'all are gonna be thinking to yourselves, and good on y'all if y'all were actually thinking of this, that Blue Bell thing doesn't fit though. Many companies were selling it, not just one. In the active shooter thing, only Steam is selling it. Right on you. Okay, but would it make a big difference if only one game was selling it? To the media, maybe. Okay, let's say this was a game where you played as a black woman killing white men. Okay? And I'm gonna address the school shooting thing here in a second. Let's say you played as a black woman shooting men. Now, a lot of y'all are watching this video will probably say, well, that sounds kind of racist. It's one race and sex killing another race and sex for the sole purpose of it's not the same sex and race. That's the very treating people differently based off of sex and or race is a very definition of sexism and racism. Some of y'all out there will say, no, that's reverse racism. That's fighting the patriarchy. That's good on her. Fine, you're allowed to your beliefs, but the textbook definition of racism is treating one differently because you believe that you are superior to them for the sole factor of your race. Sexism is the exact same except it's sex. Okay? And I'm saying sex, not gender, because big thing with that. Okay? So, with that game, the inherently racist. A lot of people will say yes. A lot of people will say no. Would Steam or whoever sells this game get in trouble for selling that game? Probably not. Fighting the patriarchy. All that. Would the media pick it up? Probably not. It doesn't make good news. And the sad fact of today's society is news outlets will do everything they can without telling a lie. They'll stretch the truth as far as they can. Okay? So that line is unseen. It's a hairline thin. Okay? They will stretch it. Can't stretch it no more. For the sole purpose of views. So people will watch them. And so that people will be fair. Take the Tide Pod incident that happened not too long ago. Okay? The Tide Pod challenge, 1 or 2 videos did it. News outlets picked it up. Okay? And they skyrocketed the views. If you actually look at the search results for Tide Pod and all that, you'll find that after the news picked it up and started talking about it, the search for Tide Pod challenge videos surged. And the amount of them that came out surged. Okay? Because, one, the news wanted to make people afraid. They wanted to say, hey, look at what your kids are doing. 1 or 2 kids did. Okay? Look at what your kids doing. Are you protecting your kids? Kids are dying from this. The news wanted to fearmonger and use your fear and all that against you. And in doing so, it created a snowball effect where, oh, the news is talking about it must be a popular thing. Maybe if I do it, I can become popular. Okay. Because some people, again, everything has some kind of agenda behind it, to some extent. And whether that agenda be good or bad, you have to decide for yourself. So they wanted to become popular. The news talked about it, so they thought they can get some easy hits, some easy clicks on their videos if they did it. Same reason clickbait's becoming popular, you know, all about that click, all about that money, all about becoming popular. Okay. Now, take a phenomenon that happens almost as regularly. Okay. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was an incident that happened right around the same time Tide Pod happened. More kids die from accidental. What was it? Oh, more kids die from accidental household products, accidentally drinking them, accidentally mixing them, whatever it may be, more often than Tide Pod, or more than Tide Pod. If that wasn't being talked about, okay, because that's not scary, that's not freaky, it doesn't get the clicks. And here's the thing I always like to say, okay, you help out, you build a school, or not even, let's say that, okay, you donate all your money to the world, or donate all your money to building a school for kids a house for the homeless, and donate all your money to charity. Okay? That same week, you get into a scandal with dating someone who's underage. What do you think the news is going to talk about? They're going to talk about the underage thing. Because people like a disaster story. We as human beings love drama. So they're going to go after the most dramatic things they can. As for a school shooting thing, he is doing the same thing that the Tide Pod people did. Okay? The news started talking about school shootings, so he thought he could become popular and rich off of school shootings. So he made a game about school shootings. That's all that happened. I'm not saying that the school shooting shouldn't have been talked about or anything like that. I do think that was a great topic for them for the most part. A lot of news stations I watch handle a few of them actually pretty well, in my opinion. A few of them handle them very, very poorly. But, and I'm not going to get into school shootings themselves and all that. But my point is, they're going to give you whatever story does the most fair. So, I just want to put that out there so y'all can think for yourselves and figure out if there was a point to this kind of thing, if I'm just trying to go off on news stations and all that. So, but again, I like to make the point, they're not endorsing it. Okay, and back to the Bluebell thing. Let's say a store brand. Okay. Oh no, not say store brand, because store brands are the producers and the sellers. So producers are at fault, sellers are not, for the most part. So they fall into both categories, so they would be at fault. If I made a good right now, okay, and I sold it to dollar store, and I only sold it to dollar store, whatever reason, whether I thought it could help out their business, whether I got a better deal if I just sold to them, however it may happen. Okay, and then my jam, my product, whatever product you can think of. I'm gonna use the jam in this example. Okay, if that jam had to be recalled because I made a mistake somewhere down the line. Okay, do you think the news would attack the dollar store, Family Dollar, Dollar General, whichever one you want to think about, Dollar General in my case? Okay. Do you think the news would attack the Dollar General as much as they're attacking Steam? Well, you all saying, well, yeah, it's a fear tactic, right? Wrong. Right now in the media, okay, gaming market is low. Okay, doesn't pull in the clicks as much as they, so they have to make some real fear of it. So if they say a single company, if they are saying this company is responsible or trying to emulate or do this, not the small business behind it that sold them the game, but if they say the game company did it, then they can use this as an excuse why games are bad and why games should die, why violent games make your kids violent, and they can give more and more fear to it. If they attack Dollar General, okay, then Dollar General doesn't have to fight back. It's a food market, okay, and because it's a food market, because it's already well established by so many people who watch the news, they can't say, oh, well, because Dollar General is selling faulty jam, they also could be messing with our kids. They could be doing this, this, and this, because too many people would see through the BS behind that. They'll see, oh no, it's not the fault of Dollar General for just selling this one product. They didn't make it. They bought it from someone else. It's the third party. Steam doesn't have that because not enough people know about Steam. Not enough people who watch news and stuff like that will do that. These are typically parents who don't play video games very often or at all in the internet who watch the news. I'm not saying not just them. Some people who play online, who play consoles, will watch news and stuff like that and may even believe it too. But they don't have that. So one story that people will look at kind of poorly and be like, they probably shouldn't have sold it. They should have done a little bit of quality control, but they have no backing stories with it. Or look at Steam, they're selling you this, and later down the road, they're like, oh, well, we had that Steam story. It got a lot of clicks. Let's make another one. Well, Steam is selling you this game. They're also selling violent games to kids. Look how easy it is for kids to get these games. They make more and more fear-mongering stories, putting in the clicks. A lot of people like to attack video games as a violent means, unlike media or videos or movies. So it's an easy target in a sense. Well, the dollar store, any store in general, would just be selling the product, would not be such an easy target. So that's why they're using Steam. That's why they're looking at Steam and saying, hey, you're at fault. And when they wouldn't do it to any other company, because if they did it to any other company, the company would either fight back and say, no, it's the fault of the person who gave it to us. We thought the product was good. Or people would realize well enough that, hey, no, dollar store is not fault for faulty jam. They got recalled. Like it was a bad product. Like that's not my fault. That's not their fault. Like, so that's kind of something I want to get across to you. Let's continue.
Which it is. Because Valve thinks it's washed its hands of this whole situation by doing this, by saying it's up to you, it's up to users to curate the service. In a fantasy world, that's true, but in the...
I hate the way he says it's in a fantasy world. Just, yep. Again, I'm not trying to attack him, but there's a narrow-mindedness about this topic that he portrays. It kind of bugs me a little bit and all that. And as for the Steam thought they washed their hands of it, I'm sure that they did. I'm sure that Steam themselves thought, okay, what we're going to do, because people don't know this about us yet. I don't think that they came out and made a new decision. I think they came out and said, hey, this has been our decision and this will continue to be our decision, without saying that. So that they, not necessarily will wash their hands of the situation, but so more people will understand that we're not in the business of regulating games. It's up to people who buy the games to learn if this is a good or bad product. Okay. I don't think they necessarily thought they were washing their hands of it, but they thought they would mitigate it. And in reality, they should have. In all personal reality and my beliefs and all that, they should have. That should have been in the contract. Oh, well, they're letting consumers decide. But there's some people out there, okay, like this guy, who believe that everything should be heavily regulated and, like, let me. I don't know how I want to quite word this, because I don't want to be disingenuous about his beliefs. I don't know this man too terribly well. But based off of this video, based off the way he's talking and all that, he would be happy in a world where companies and companies alone decided everything we had access to. And me personally, that's a world I don't want to live in. So that doesn't sound like freedom to me. That sounds like entrapment. Like, there's always been a debate in my personal mind, and I had it a couple of times with friends. Choice, or freedom of choice, or illusion of choice, which is better? Okay? And you're probably thinking, so, well, what do those mean? And I'll probably have a whole video about this at some point or another. The illusion of choice is where you're given so little options, but you're still given options. So you think you have this choice. Okay. I'm gonna put it to you like this. It's where the term narrow-mindedness and narrow view comes from. Okay. You go into a store, right? And in the back they have this locked section, or not even locked. They have this door to the back. Okay. This store sells one good. Let's say it sells brands of brands of root beer. Okay, I know brands of root beer. In the front section of the store, in plain sight, you have A&W or Mug. Now, everyone with some kind of common sense says, well, yeah, that's a choice, isn't it? That is a choice between two options. But, okay, and this is where the illusion of choice comes in, okay? While in reality, you have some sort of choice, the choice has become so narrow to you that it ultimately doesn't matter one way or the other, okay? Where, now sometimes a choice between just two options when there's only two options, okay, like, do you want to do drugs? Yes, no. That's a two option choice where that's all the options. That is the full spectrum, okay? That's not an illusion of choice, that's full choice, okay? But illusion of choice comes in when, okay, there is more options, but for whatever reason, you have been limited, okay? So, company knows now that you have to buy one of those two. There's no way for you to buy any other one at that store. Okay? Then you go to another store. They have Shasta root beer. They have A&W root beer, Mug. I can't think of the other ones now. The Blue Tap, which comes in the gray bottle. It's actually really good. Most stores like Dairy Queen and stuff like that, that's what they have on tap. Okay? You have choices between bottle, cans. You know, you have every different type of root beer. You have Kroger brand, you have Brookshire brand, you have dollar store brand, you have all the different types of brand names. You have all these choices. That's freedom of choice. Illusion of choice is by one mean or another, you have become unbelievably limited. Okay? So that you believe in your heart of hearts that you have a choice. When in full reality, in the grand schemes of things, you have no choice. Okay? That's what I mean by freedom of choice or illusion of choice. So, if a company limits what you can get, by any manner, they lower your spectrum choice. And the lower that gets, the closer you get to illusion of choice. Where you believe you have one, but in reality you don't. Okay? I just kind of want to put that out there. Y'all can debate about it a little bit. Okay? But that does apply here. Okay? I don't want to say he's living in a fantasy world. In a way, if he wanted everything to be regulated to a point, like to a great point and all that, then that would be the illusion of choice, and that would be a fantasy. You would believe something that you truly do not have, aka illusion. That's what it means. But if you have a 100% free market with anything and everything that meets a legal standard, and if we had no laws, not even that, then you have the full spectrum of choice. And people are out there thinking, well, what are we talking about? 10, 20 games getting taken off because it's... No. Okay? We would most likely be talking about the upwards of thousands of games. Which, in the grand scheme of things, about how many games are out there and all that, okay? I want to say there's like... I don't want to say thousands of games, but let's say about 800 games get taken off, okay? That's a lot of choices. And when you have, even though you have so many, at that point, narrowing it down even a little bit starts becoming an illusion. And it also comes down to, well, actually, I'll bring up that point when we get to it. Let's continue for now.
The real world, shops are responsible for the shit they sell. Speaking of which, let's have a look at the game that Valve we'll get to...
Well, quick, if shops are responsible for what they sell, then why were shops not shut down or sued over the Bluebell incident? They sold Bluebell, they should be responsible for it. Think about that.
Valve's statements in a bit, but let's look at the game it 100% backs and fully believes in, AIDS Simulator. And be warned, of course, this is a bit of a bumpy ride. In AIDS Simulator...
Before we get to what the game's actually about, I talked about earlier trash games. This is one of those, okay? And again, I don't like his narrative that they fully back it and all that. These are choice words, which I haven't gotten to, because again, this is my first Freedom Act. And if I do all cards on the table, I'll talk about choice words. He keeps pounding home the fact that this is a fully endorsed, fully backed game, because he wants you to believe that, whether or not it's true or not. Constant repetition causes belief. Okay? If I was to tell you for 1,000 days I saw the sky as green, eventually you would believe that I saw the sky as green. Okay? Now, this was a tactic, and I hate to bring this up and all. This was a tactic used by the Nazi party and all that, so that it was a tactic used by the Nazi party for the sole purpose of getting the people to believe that the Jews were evil. They kept telling the people this. They kept on talking about this. They kept saying the same keywords over and over till the majority of the Nazi party believed it. Okay, and so I'm not calling him a Nazi or anything like that. Don't take that out of concept. I'm just saying that he's using a tactic that is used to make people believe stuff, whether it's true or not. And I wanted to point that out to you, because knowing tactics like this and having used tactics like this on people in the past, I know how horrible it can be, and I know how quickly it can not necessarily backfire, but how easily spotted it is once you know what you're. Let's continue.
You play as a tourist that travels to Africa and contracts the HIV virus from the locals. Now he must take revenge and kill everyone before he dies so that they won't keep spreading AIDS to the other parts of the world. The African army soldiers will try to stop you. Do your best to kill. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. The game, even as usual, quite proudly, a lot of these games do that now, they proudly boast that the game is bad. If you're a game collector or just enjoy buying trash games in general, here's another garbage for your bin.
Then wouldn't that be more proof that it's the responsibility of the consumer not to buy trash? If there's obviously a demand for it, then there's a supply for it. Supply and demand, simple economics. If there was no demand, there would be no supply. Okay? And again, like I talked about earlier, there's some people who like to play bad games. And this is, if you look on there, one of the profit asset flips. Okay? So he took someone else's assets and flipped them and made them his own. I'm sure that you could go find out the original and all that, but who says someone who doesn't buy this game because this is the first they find and just do the exact same thing and make their own game later on? That's not crap. That's awesome, because he was able to get what's essentially the code to a pretty already written game. So there's reasons for it. I'm not defending the game itself. That's on the producer to do. But there would be no supply for it if there was no demand for it. And if he makes any money at all, it's on the fault of the consumer for buying the game, not on Steam's fault for selling the game, okay, and not on his fault for the game being shite. Especially since he always says the game is shite. It's like if I built a toy car right now. And let's not even say total. Let's go back to that very first car example I made way earlier. Okay, and I know a lot of y'all probably forgot it and all that. I have a car. I'm selling it. I know the motor's bad. I know the check engine light's coming on, and I know the transmission's being held on by duct tape. I tell you that. I tell you straight up. Oh, the engine's bad. Oh, the transmission's going out. Oh, there's a check engine light for an O2 sensor. Oddly enough, yeah. Okay, let's just say the check engine light for whatever reason, just the O2 sensor. Okay, spark plugs are rusty. They're like a week away from going out. Oh, you still want to buy the car from me? Okay, yeah, give me your money. Then a week later, he gets mad at. It's like, does he? Then a week later, it falls apart, like I said it was going to. Okay, he realizes that this car is a limit. Does he have a right to get mad at me for buying the car, even though everything I told him everything I knew that was wrong with it, everything that was wrong with it, I told him and informed him of? Does he have a right to get mad at me when he was fully informed of what he was buying and he still bought it? That same principle can apply here. People who buy this game are fully informed in the about game. This is a zero effort cash grab. So is it the fault of Steam or the developer for the game being shite? Yes, the developer is at fault for the game being shite, but you were fully aware of that fact when you bought the game, when you buy the game. And if you don't even read the About Me section of the game, that is 100% on you. It is there in plain sight. I don't want to say no respect or anything like that, but I have no tolerance for people who complain about games that are horrible when there was reviews out long before they bought it telling them it was horrible, when there was things like this where the About Game sections told you it was a cash grab. Okay, I have no tolerance for that. That is on you. You didn't do the research. You didn't read it. All the info was there for you. We live in a society where information is at your fingertips, literally, and people still don't take the time to learn the information. Okay, and that can kind of be said for me earlier when I talked about Amazon and the Bible and the Quran. Yeah, I'll give you that one. But I'm not buying the product and all that. I'm not buying them one way or the other. So there's a little bit of, I'm not complaining that they don't. I'm not complaining that they do. That was just an example from earlier. So it's one of those things when you start complaining about it and you didn't do it, and it's one of those things like I could give it a pass if this was a zero effort cash grab and didn't say that right on there. And him saying, oh, they proudly flaunt it. No. They're one of two things. They're clearly being trolls, or they're going after a market of people who want to buy crap games. Which, yes, there's a market for those people for those kind of games. Just plain and simple. So, it is what it is. Now let's continue.
Promise that it's an asset flip, that it's very short, that it performs poorly, that it's a zero effort cash grab. It's one of these games that have realised you don't have to put in effort anymore. And in fact, so long as you make it as shocking and attempt to make it as offensive as possible, because everything's become overtly politicised now, some fucking idiots who are
Well, let him finish his
care about
point.
triggering people are gonna flock to your horrendous asset flip that cost very little and took even less time to make. They're gonna swarm around you and defend you to the hilt. So now there's
Are we defending the game or the company? Okay. Let's get something straight right now. The majority of the people who do things like this, I'm not going to overtly call them trolls because I don't want their games taken down because they're going to be classified as trolls on Steam, which some of them might. Like games like that may eventually like sue Steam saying, "Oh no, that's just a troll. They're being offensive. They're doing this on purpose, and it's poorly designed. You even say it is. You tell me it's a crash grab. I'm taking it off the Steam market because you're clearly just trying to be a troll." But in the same sense, they are acting very similar to trolls. Okay, what a troll does is they say something offensive or demeaning for the sole purpose of reaction. Same reason a bully will call you names in school is because they want to feed off the drama from your reaction. Okay, and it's not people like me and anti JSWs that go flocking to these kinds of games. Okay, and start defending them. No, it's people like Jim Sterling and people on the JSW side and people on some of those other, sides that come to this game talking about how racist it is and how poorly does how it's a merely a cash grab. Basically, literally everything he just said. He's the one going to it. He's the one bringing attention to it. He's the one feeding the trolls. All we ever do is defend the developer's right to make whatever game or thing they wish to make. Because let's say for a second, let's give the developer the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we're gonna go best case, worst case scenario. One of my favorite games. Worst case scenario, he's just a troll looking for attention. Guess what? You just gave him that attention. Best case scenario, okay, this was one of his first things. He needed money for whatever reason, whether to go to college or whatever, to eat, whatever reason he needed money, he did because he needed money. He wanted the money, and using that money and the knowledge he got from making that first thing, he goes on to make more games. Starting out small and offensive like it has been, so people will flock to it and buy it. And then, after that, using his creativity, his knowledge from the other ones, and the money that gave him the ability to do it, he's able to make a game or work for a game company that makes a bombing game. See, we don't know people's intentions. You can never determine someone's intentions right away. And unfortunately, that is one of the facts of life. The intention I have for making this video compared to his intentions for making his video, could be completely different. They could be like 100% opposite, and all that doesn't matter one bit. Okay. The point and the problem here is, one, you're feeding the attention if he's just a troll. And two, if you try to stifle anybody's creativity, whether it's worst case scenario, he's just a troll, in which case, if he was just a troll, you gave him attention, and by trying to stifle his creativity, you fed him his energy and his drama, and he's now smiling, laughing at these videos and these stuff. Or, okay, best case scenario, and he wasn't a troll, just became worst case scenario, because you are stifling his creativity and telling him, no, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to try and make money this way. You're not allowed to try to shock people for the amount of shock value so you can get money to make something better later on. You are not given that right. And that's what I have a problem with. And in a sense, he's trying to say Steam should be taking away developers' rights to put whatever they want in their games and design them however they want. I'm fine with Steam's policy. No trolls, nothing illegal. It's up to the consumer to decide, is this a game they want to buy? I see no problems. Let's continue.
Actual money in making asset flips, because that hill is something that a bunch of morons have decided to die on. But we need to remember that Valve endorses Aid Simulator again.
Again, no matter how many times you say it, okay, they don't endorse it. They never had. They are just a platform to sell it. They are they are a marketplace that are selling third-party products. That's it. They have no responsibility, okay, for the stuff that comes through, because it is on the developer to make the product good, and it's on the developer to make the product great. Think of it like this, okay? The Witcher 3, okay? On their side, they claimed that game was inherently racist and all that, yet they never once attacked Steam for it, because they knew it would have been a hill to die on. Now, because the media's picked it up, now because these are small games where the developers can't defend themselves most of the time, because they can use fear-mongering this time where it's not a AAA game that's going to be widely known, now they're attacking Steam. No longer are they going after the developers who make this game, because that apparently didn't work. Now they're going after Steam. I just wanted to make that point real quick.
In which you go to Africa and kill all the locals. That is something that Valve backs, because it ain't illegal, so Valve thinks it's fine to sell, even.
But isn't it? Again, back to the whole thing. The Nazi bravado, okay, which is, I can't remember the exact name of the book, but basically Nazi bravado, okay. That's not illegal to sell, okay. It has some hateful and hurtful things in it, I'm assuming, but it's not illegal to sell. So Amazon has the right to sell it, and Amazon does sell it, and no one attacks Amazon for selling it, because everyone knows that just because they're selling it doesn't mean that they're backing it. They're not the creators of it, they're not the backers of it, they are just providing a service so that you can easily access these items and easily get these items. Yeah. Tired of making that point, because like every time he makes that point, I have to make that point, and just keep going on and on and on. Breathe.
Though again, any reasonable storefront that cared about its reputation and didn't want to invite at least mainstream news attention, possibly regulator attention, would want to touch this utterly poisonous shit.
But don't they want news? I'm just gonna pull up this one fact only. Any polypsy, I can't speak today, I'm sorry guys. Any kind of coverage is good coverage. Y'all all know what I was trying to say, and I have a speech impairment, and I understand that, so I'm not even going to keep trying to say the word, because I am frustrated at this point a little. So kind of want to say that. Any coverage is good coverage, because it's going to have two sides to every argument. Some people are going to go immediately trying to back it just because the other side hates it, and some people are going to hate it just because their side hates it. Okay, so the people that are backing it will buy the product, or go onto the product, or try to use the product to figure out why it's so bad. The people who hate the product, if they're smart, will do the same. Okay, anytime there's a controversy about anything, 9 times out of 10, you'll see sales of that object or that game or stuff like that skyrocket, just so they can see what's all the fuss about. Okay? Unless it gets to a point of boycotts, and then once you get, that's a different story altogether. Anyway, let's continue.
In a waffling blog post that doesn't really say anything, Steam asks who gets to be on the Steam store, and the answer, as we've already worked out, is basically everything and anything. They claim that Valve is not a small company, we're not a homogenous group, the online debates around these topics play out inside Valve as well. Now they're trying to make it sound like, oh, our hands are tied, we couldn't possibly do anything, but
I don't think that's what they're trying to say at all. What they're trying to say is the company is not in agreement. If a company is not in agreement, okay, alright. I didn't think I really had to be explaining how companies work to people. Okay, there's a board of directors. Okay, that board of directors, okay, decide just about everything that is with the companies. If a company is big enough, they have board of directors. If a company is smaller than that, it's typically internal. Okay, if I had to guess by the way they're talking, they are just big enough. Well, they are starting to get to a point where they may need boards of directors, but right now they're trying to stay internal. They're trying to make sure everyone in the company agrees. If the company was to make a decision right now, okay, going the other way, who's to say a lot of people inside the company wouldn't just leave, okay, because they didn't agree with their position. They are trying to have internal talks about it. There's people like me and there's people like you who work inside Steam trying to have these discussions and have these talks saying, should we regulate? What should we regulate if we do? What's the backlash that can happen from regulating? Like, what's the pros and cons of us doing this? How should we take it? Like, okay, guys, we can't come to a decision right now. We'll pin this for next week. For now, I'm the owner. I do get a final say. I am the owner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everyone that we're doing the same things we're doing right now, but we're having these discussions. So if points come up that we haven't thought of already that can sway everyone's mind, then we'll do this. But is everyone okay with that? Yeah, we've been doing it this way for now anyway. Let's just go ahead and do that, and we'll keep the discussions open. That's what I would like to think they're saying. I don't think they're saying that, oh, all hands are tired, we can't do anything. Now, as he's about to say, they're focusing on tools so we can regulate what we want to see and what we don't want to see. I don't see how that's a bad thing. If I had a peanut allergy, okay, then I don't want to go get products that have peanuts in it. So if I went to a store and I have to skim through everything that has peanuts in it, that would be unuser friendly. But if there was a way to make it where I can say, oh, I'm going to press this button right here, and now I will no longer see products with peanuts in it at all because I have this allergy. That'll make things so much easier. I still get the choices I want, the choices I have available at me, and all that. And because I have the allergy, I'm safe from it. So if they make tags, okay, that like sexual content, memes, and some of these other tags that they're talking about making, if they make these tags and allow people who have played the game or know the game and developers who make the game to tag their games like this, they can say, oh, well, I hate memes, so no memes. And boom, no more memes. That'll make things so much more user-friendly without the company having to say, no, we're not going to sell this product at all. It is one of the best compromises I can think of. If I was in Steam's position, I don't know what I would do, to be honest. Okay? Because I do understand, to some extent, both sides of it. But I do think I would try to make things as free of a market as possible, while as customer-friendly as possible. And I do believe that this is the best thing they can do at the moment. So I just kind of want to put that point out there. And I'm sorry I'm not putting this up every now and then, but just remember this is all under fair use. I'm using this product to let y'all know. I'm using this guy's video as a talking point and as a lesson, and it does fall under fair use material. Okay, let's continue.
The important part of that sentence, or rather those sentences, is Valve is not a small company. It's not. It's got a lot of people. It's got a fuckload of money. It could afford to take the time and resources to actually vet its content so it doesn't get into major trouble.
But could it? Okay. Valve is a large company, but it's not a company that does just one thing. Okay. Valve does create games, not so much anymore, but they do. Okay. They have a community they have to keep it whole. Okay. They have servers they need to keep up and running. They need services that they need to keep up and running. Okay, without fail. And if they have people already working on something, let's say a new game or some deals or marketing or whatever they may be working on, how much can they afford to take those people away without delaying the output of that product? Take the new tag system they're working on. Okay? How long do they have? Does the company have a deadline for it already? Does the owner say, like, I want to see these tags up and running by July 27th. Okay? So they have to dedicate so many resources to get these tags up and running, beta testing the tags, getting them working, break the update, fix some of the other problems they have to do in updates, and then send it out to people. Can they really afford to take people that are in any of these positions and say, okay, now your job is to check every game that's coming in, play it yourself, make sure that there's no hateful comment in it, there's no anything like that. Stuff like the AIDS simulator and all that would be super easy for them to check out. Oh, okay, yeah, this isn't inherently that. But other games may be more sinister about it. Okay, so they would have to play these games. They would have to check out these games. Even though a game says it's poorly run, like what are their standards? You would have to create benchmarks, which would cause more time and discussion among the people. Okay, so we're going to create these benchmarks. Okay, so the game has to run, but how? How do they have to run? Well, they have to run on this kind of system, but some game developers have games too high for that kind of system, and they mock it. Oh, that's right. Well, it has, because a poorly designed game is subjective. What I may think to be a bad game may be a great game to somebody else. Well, how do you regulate things? You have to create benchmarks, which cause time and testing and discussions. Okay, with user feedback, if it's a good company like Steam tries to be. Okay, then they would have to create benchmarks for racism and stuff like that. Whose senses are we appealing to? Are we saying anything that's inherently racist? Okay, or what is racism to us? Do we use the book definition? Do we use your definition? Do you use JSW's definition? Like they say, Witcher 3 is racist because even though it's because there's no black, or there's, I can't remember if there's no black people or very few black people in it. But I think the black people only come in DLC. I honestly don't remember too terribly much about Witcher 3. I never played it. Okay, but on the same hand, it was a Polish game about Polish folklore, so there wasn't that many people of color back then in their lore. So is that racist, or is that historically accurate? Like, where they fall? And you would have to create all these different benchmarks that would have to be checked, double checked, and triple checked. When most of it, as of right now, is pretty subjective. There's some things that can be obviously these things, but then you only get rid of those things, and then some people will complain, well, you should have got rid of this game because it's clearly offensive, while to them it wasn't. So it's better for a person to person to make the decisions than a company to make those. So, and again, we got to do this. Anyway, let's continue.
In the future, so it's safeguarded against the kinds of controversy no corporation really wants to deal with, but it doesn't want to. And there's no debate. There's no debate about this as far as I'm concerned. You don't debate whether or not you're going to get in trouble for selling troublesome shit.
But is that what they're debating, though? As I just said, they could be debating same way me and you are, in a kind of a sense of debate, where you're talking about the subject in one light while I'm talking about the subject in a different light, which is the sense what a debate is. They could be talking about the benchmarks I just talked about. They could be talking about whether or not they should do it, the long-term effects of it if they do it, the manpower required. There is a debate in it. There's never one side to everything. Everything's a tetrahedron. Okay? Okay? There is many upon many of sides to it. And you will never just get every person's life views and the memories and everything they went through changes how they see stuff. No two people are ever going to have the exact same view on the same subject every time. Okay? So there is a debate. Okay? Hell, even I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying anything like that. Alright. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. That's my phone going off. But I'm not saying it's okay or anything like that. But take the I'm trying to figure out the best group I want to do this for. Okay. Take people who take Muslims, for example, who believe that women should be property of men and shouldn't be allowed to go out unless they're with they should stay covered up and modest. Okay. To them, there's no debate. This is how things have to be. To us, there's a difference of views. So even though to both sides, because of their life experiences, they believe there should be no debate, that the other side's just wrong, there is. There's never one side anything, especially when it's subjective like this. Because everything's relevant, everything's subjective to a point. And sometimes that point's greater than even, I realize half the time. Again, back to the Muslim debate, alright? Back when I was younger, it was never a debate in my mind that how you should treat and respect women. They are people, okay, just like me, and that they should be respected and treated as such. And to my mind, I never saw that as subjective. And then I started learning about other cultures and other religions, and learned about Muslim culture and their religion, and how the women should be covered up, and how they shouldn't go out without a man present and stuff like that. And I'm like, to me, that makes no sense. Subjectively, you shouldn't be able to treat women that way, but in reality, that subject is more subjective based off of life experiences. Now, I'm not saying that that's okay by any means, but it is a subjective topic in a way, because it is differencing views of the subject. We only got like 3 minutes left of this video. Let's see if I can't get through this. Let's continue.
There's enough history in the world, in the real world, to tell you exactly where this road leads. And that you're having a debate about it, Valve, indicates to me.
Just want to point this topic up real quick. Sorry for that little flash. I can't think of a real world scenario that fits his narrative. Okay? I personally cannot. If y'all can, leave it in the comments down below and all that after this has become a video. I can't think of a topic that fits his narrative. Okay? Just putting that out there. There's a lot of this world I don't know. More of it I don't know than I know. So there's probably a lot of topics, that fits his narrative, but I can't think of one.
That you're fucking stupid, and of course lazy, because you not wanting to do your due diligence as a storefront is pure fucking laziness, if not gross incompetence.
No and no. Okay? Is it lazy to try to better your service so that consumers can pick what they want in an easier, better fashion? No, lazy would have said, oh, no, we're not doing anything at all. They didn't say they're not doing anything at all, okay? They said that the regulations are no trolling, nothing illegal, and we're going to make it easier for consumers to find what they want. Unfortunately, there's going to be one major backfire to this, okay? People like him it's going to be easier for people like him find games like this to keep pointing at later down in life. And unfortunately, that's just going to be one of the factors of it. But on the same hand, and all that, it'll be easier for the average consumer to find the games that they want to play and will enjoy. Easier and better. That's not doing nothing. That's not laziness. That is pro-consumer and helping the consumer. And as for the gross incompetence, no. Again, I'm going to food because I know more about the food industry a lot of the times than any other industry. And the gaming industry is, again, relatively legally new. Okay? in the food industry. Back to the Bluebell thing, when they had to make a recall. Gross incompetence would have been the company knowing about it and not recalling, or Walmart knowing that the recall has happened but still selling Bluebell. Those are gross incompetent. Okay, Bluebell making the recall because they are the things, and if they make a recall now, if let's say the developer realizes how, like let's say the AIDS simulator, okay, let's say the developer right now told Steam, no, I don't want this game on Steam no more, and all that. I realize what the drama is made. Well, let's take it off, okay? I never meant for drama to happen. And Steam refuses them. That would be gross incompetence, because the developer has acknowledged the problems of the game, and Steam is still selling it. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out there.
Or again, complete endorsement, which is exactly how people offline will view this when they hear about this. It's what,
because that's the way the media wants you to view for it. It is fear-mongering. They want you to believe that they're endorsing it, when in reality it's just some person in his room, most likely just in his room, thinking, how can I get some easy money? I want to buy the CSGO knife. How can I get some money? And that's how they're doing it. So, because it's people like you and it's the media that want to fearmonger and make people who, again, you said offline. That's a very, very key word there. And I don't even know if he knows he said that. It's people who are online, people who are connected to the internet know better. It's the people who are offline, the people who are uneducated about subjects like these. Again, this is why I say still relatively new and still legally new, because it's not a worldwide thing. It's not something that everyone's in knowledge of or anything like that, or the majority. No, this is still a small percentage. The percentage is growing of gamers, but hardcore internet gamers like me and PC gamers and people who are on Steam and know about these kind of stuff is still a relatively new market in the grand scheme of the world. And people who are offline, who don't know about this, will see stuff like this and believe you and not think, oh, well, it's the developer of the game, not the company. No. They are not endorsing it. Same way Walmart did not endorse Bluebell when the Bluebell had its disaster. And I can't understand how people don't see that. Okay, alright. Because I do keep forgetting to do this. Let's keep going.
what they assumed when they heard about active shooter. You literally just had this teachable moment, Valve. And hey...
Okay, to everyone who comments who said active shooters in the comment section below, all that, nothing legally kind of came out of that. Okay, active shooter was taken down because of not because of that, but because it was I can't remember if it was an obvious troll or if the programming itself didn't work properly and didn't meet the standards to run, or it's like it was illegal or something like that. But you say it was a teachable moment, was it? What they learned was people were getting over well, okay. It was a teachable moment. Okay. But in what way? I think Steam did use it as a teachable moment. They thought of it as, okay, people have found this game. This game's not cool. People didn't like this game and all that. So let us reinforce the has to be legal. Can't be a troll game, which basically means it needs to run. It can't be it basically has to run, in some other small things about that. With the troll thing, I don't know exactly how they define trolling just yet. I'm sure they're gonna come up with a blog eventually saying exactly how they define trolling and thing. That's a subjective term too. To some extent, but they decided to reinforce that, say, hey guys, we all reinforcing this part of it. Also, we're gonna do something about your experience with the platform to make it easier and better for you to find the games you want to play. So games like this that would offend you will no longer have to be appeared on your lips. So it was a teachable moment, just not in the way you thought it should be teachable.
Works for me. I love making direct-to-video videos, so this is going to keep me in work just fine. It's just a real shame that
And I hope you keep doing this so I can keep, talking about how poor your arguments are. Kidding, his arguments aren't too terribly poor. Are not the worst I've seen, but just saying that mentality kind of upsets me because I'm not doing this for views. I'm not doing this for anything like that. I'm doing it because I'm sick of hearing it and not saying something. You're doing it for the views, as you literally just said. So think about that for a moment.
you endorse Aid Simulator, Valve. I don't know why you do that. It seems like a grotty little game. I don't know why I'd be proud to sell it, but...
Who said they're proud to sell it? Who said they are endorsing it? They're not endorsing it. They're not saying they're proud to sell it. They are just a service. They don't make the game. They don't advertise the game. They allow you to advertise the game. Because again, mind you, it's a service and a social media where you can share and send stuff. In this case, ads on your games you can then put there. If me and a friend really want to, we can make games, put them on Steam, and instead of an ad, just have a discussion between one and two of us. Now, in all actuality, that's not a smart thing to do. The ads on there is from the game devs themselves and can be whatever the game devs want the video to be. That's not from Steam. Steam's not endorsing it. It's just selling the product. Same way Amazon doesn't endorse the Nazi Pavito. They just sell the book. Okay, alright. Let's keep going.
Clearly you are, because it ain't illegal. It's also not illegal to put up a game with a missing executable file, I suppose, because you still let those up as well, you grossly incompetent, lazy asses. And
okay, he has a point on that one. I'll give him that one. A executable .exe file. Okay, is what he's talking about. A game coming without one of those, clearly not working. Clearly a troll, and games like that should either be fixed or taken down. I will agree with him on that one. But I don't think that Steam's not doing anything about it. If anything, this proves that even though they are a big company, they don't have big resources yet. Okay? Because if anything, this proves anyone who would, most people would think of that as, okay, yeah, that's trolling, and it should be taken down. And I'm sure Steam does too. So, I'm almost positive, and don't hold me on this, but Steam is trying to take those down, but every now and then things get through the crack. If I wanted to right now, and again, don't hold me 100% true to this, but I'm pretty sure if I really wanted to right now, I can make a game, have a .exe file right then and there, then send an update to Steam without the .exe file, and they won't check the update because they get bogged down with updates from all their games. Okay, so they don't. I don't think they will check every single update. So I could, in theory, make a game that did have an exe file. It no longer has an exe file, and then I just trolled everyone who got my game. Think of it like that. They can't check every single thing. It would be impossible to. Okay, as of right now, they are a big company, but not big resources. Do you want to shell out the $1 million a year? I say million, a couple hundred of thousands of dollars a year to hire all the testers that would be required to do this, and do it in a way that doesn't cut profit down any and doesn't slow down research any? Because ultimately, don't forget, Steam is still a company. It still needs to do company things. It needs to keep a certain profit margin to stay alive. It needs to keep a lot of things. They need to keep research, they need to keep stuff like that. They need to keep all that alive the best they can. And the owner apparently believes he is doing whatever he can to do it. And while I'm not admittedly defending Steam and saying Steam can't do no wrong, I'm trying to say that I have enough faith in the Steam owner while remembering that this is still a business and putting on business things. Now, for all I know, their profit margin could be 120%. Okay, they make so much money off of everything that they do that they make that the money that they get yearly is 120% higher than what it costs to run the business. And they may not want to cut into that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. If he's greedy, if he's not greedy, I don't know. But I can tell you from a business standpoint, you can't cut into profit and have a problem with it. Because if they did it, this would cut into profit 3 separate ways. Okay, one, it would cut onto profit in manpower. Okay, you would either have to hire more people, or researching and stuff like that would be bogged down because you have moved people from other assets of the company to this new asset you have designed called quality control. 2, it would cut into overall profit because you are getting rid of games that otherwise would be giving you money. Okay, and 3, it will cut into your yearly time produced. Okay, your overall, again, manpower in a way. Okay, the overall cost of the company. It would cost time to put it on Steam, which will make people may not want to go on Steam to sell their games anymore, which will cut down their product even more. And it will also have people like me who may go to Origin where it's a little bit more open than Steam if Steam starts cutting down and stuff like that. So it's not a worthy thing to do. Again, in my opinion, from my business knowledge. Okay. Let's continue.
Valve, you can hide behind the false conflation of curation and quality control all you want. Anybody with a brain in their head can tell the difference between curation and quality control and basic standards and practices. Also, Valve as a...
But can they? Again, this goes to the whole thing. Even if things seem not subjective, most things are subjective. Okay? Now, there is some things that are 100% objective. But when it comes to stuff like topics like that, and topics when it comes to media, gaming, and things along those lines, most of the time, very few objective things are said in context like that. They're all purely subjective. Okay? A running game. Okay? Game that can run. Purely objective. Okay? We can all agree a running game is a game that can run. But if I created a program right now, okay, with a .exe file, or even a file, a .bat file, because .bat files can run things sometimes, different types of files that when you click on them in the right way and do them the right way, they still run, okay? Or even a file that tells you, hey, to get the .exe file, you have to unzip this, or you have to turn this to a .exe file, and all that. However you end up getting the game to run, okay? Okay. Once you run that game, all it did was have a little text prompt. You enter a number, another little text prompt, and then it spits out a number with a joke attached to that number. Okay? That's objectively a running game. Subjectively, it's not. It may not be. Like to me, that's not a game. That's a number simulator. That's a program that spits out a random number. Okay. Objectively, though, that's a running program. Objectively, because you're putting in input of yourself to gain different outputs, that is a game. Okay. May not be fun. May not be fun. Okay. Objectively. 100% objectively, it is a running program / game. Mind you, Steam doesn't just sell games, it sells software too, so you can count it as a software however you want. But subjectively, it may not be. Some people, I actually have a friend who believes simulators, again, a simulator, okay, which has a tad simulator in it, okay, he believes simulators aren't games. They shouldn't be classified as games. So they are meant to simulate either a scenario or a thing in upmill realism to the best of their abilities so that you can better prepare yourself for those situations or learn from those situations. Take flight simulators, for instance, okay? Something he uses a lot. He has a true flight control, okay? Like not a full cockpit or anything like that, but like he uses the like airplane, or not airplane, like a remote control, like high quality remote control paper helicopter, not paper, remote control helicopters and planes. He has one of those big bulky controllers that controls one of them, and he hooks it up to his simulator, and he uses it so he can better simulate and better do it for a later date. He doesn't consider those games. Subjectively, to him, they're not games. Subjectively, simulators to me are a type of game. Okay? Objectively, they are games. Okay? But subjectively, they may not be. So even something that is objective can still be subjective, if that makes any sense. Okay? So, again, what's common sense to you is not common sense to someone else. What is objective to you is subjective to someone else. That's what I'm trying to get at from his. All right, let's continue.
Company, you get to join Randy Pitchford in the wonderful group of people who have invited me to come talk to them and then lied directly to my face. I remember when you said you gave a shit about your dwindling reputation and the fact that you're selling shit, but clearly you were bullshitting as usual.
I hate that statement alone because attention cannot be deterred most of the time. He does. Okay? Now he could have been lying to you, he could be lying to all of us. I don't know. Okay? But based off of what he's saying and giving the benefit of the doubt, he does care. He cares about the consumer's choice more than he cares about just moderating and controlling everything the consumer gets. So he cares about his company. You care about moderation. He cares about choice. Both of y'all care. But to the other one doesn't care. So think about that first.
We decided that the right approach is to allow everything onto the Steam store except for things that we decide are illegal or straight up trolling. Taking this approach allows us to focus less on trying to police what should be on Steam and more on building those tools to give people control over what kinds of content they see.
And how does that not say he's caring? He's saying, hey, instead of losing all these customers by saying, hey, you can't play these games, we're gonna say, hey, here's tools so you can pick the games that you want to play. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. But again, even to my own point, because it's straightforward to me doesn't mean it's straightforward to someone else. Alright, let's continue.
Valve's nebulous bubble of a fantasy. That's a very fine compromise. But that's not how, long term, this shit is gonna play out. And beyond Valve's reputation and the mainstream trouble it could get into, I've talked on the Jimquisition before about how independent developers, the ones who actually put the effort in, are less and less looking at Steam as a viable option. Some of them seeing it as a complete waste of time, some of them massively outselling their Steam versions of games on systems like the Switch, which have really stepped up and given indie developers at least a brief respite for a while. Somewhere.
Okay. I'm gonna let him continue for a second because I'm stopping the video just so I can say this real quick. I'm gonna let him continue because he's about to make a very good point, and then I'm gonna use that point to debunk everything else he just said. So just remember everything he just said, okay?
Where they can sell something and have a reasonable chance of people actually seeing it. I'm not even gonna hold the.
Okay, I'm gonna go back a few seconds so you can rehear that.
Stepped up and given indie developers at least a brief respite for a while, somewhere where they can sell something and have a reasonable chance of people actually seeing it.
And don't you think that's why they're outselling? See, he mentions the fact that indie companies are outselling their Steam copies on other platforms because it gives them a respite. Okay, which I'm going to 100% admit I don't know exactly what the context he's trying to say is on that. But he is giving them a better chance of seeing them. on systems like the Switch. Couple of things. One, if the game's gone to console, okay, it's gone through a different type of market. One, okay, so it's on a totally different market basis. Okay, even though games are still games, no matter where you go, in a sense they're all the same. That's like saying, oh, Bluebell sells better at the 7-Eleven than it does at Walmart. Okay. Now here's using that same example with Switch being 7-Eleven and the PC market, Steam market, being Walmart. Do you want to know why that is? Okay. Well, let's not even say 7-Eleven. Let's say local gas station. For me, it's McLeod's. Okay. But McLeod's is outselling Walmart and Bluebell. Okay. Want to know why that is? It's not because Walmart is a bad company. It's not because it's not trying to give you the best price. No, it's nothing like that. You said it yourself, and I'm gonna play that clip one more time, just the audio, one more time, so you'll all hear it.
Which have really stepped up and given indie developers at least a brief respite for a while, somewhere where they can sell something and have a reasonable chance of people actually seeing it.
Y'all catch that? A reasonable chance of people seeing it. Again, this goes back to choice, freedom of choice versus illusion of choice. Okay? That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. If I'm on a market that has thousands upon thousands of games on it, and I put a game on that market, the chances, and with no outside marketing, no paid promotions or anything, just putting it out there, what's the chances of them seeing it? Let's make this simple. 1,000 games. Okay? I put a game out. Okay? That makes 1,000 games on that market, including my game. The chances of them seeing it is 1 in 1,000. You put it on a market of 100 games on it, that's 1 in 100 of people seeing your games. What's the better odds of people seeing your game? Okay, 1 in 100. Okay, you have thousands of games. You have full freedom of choice. You can choose any of these 1,000 games. Okay, we're gonna put 1,000 people in each market. Okay, 1,000 people on the PC market, 1,000 people in the Switch market. Is it 1,000 games? Okay, fair bit. Let's say every game is 100% equal in quality, which we all know it won't be. Okay, my game has not been marketed. It's okay quality, but not great quality. Has not been marketed. Has no backing, no real advertisement, no nothing. Okay, the chances of my game being bought on Steam dwindle quickly. Okay, but not because it's a bad platform, but because those 1,000 people, okay, are seeing these really good games first, are seeing the games backed by other people, the games that are heavily marketed, the ones in the queues, the ones that are advertised on YouTube and stuff like that. They see these games first, they go after these games, and they start making user reviews, and they start doing it. So even if only all 1,000 of those people buy one game each, okay, perfectly ideal if none of them buy the same game. That's one copy of game each one of them. But in an ideal, in a real world scenario, some of those games won't get bought at all, while some games get superly massively bought by like hundreds of people. Okay, and people can buy multiple games and all that, but still 1,000 games for 1,000 people, chances of every game being bought on there dwindle. Okay, on a market where there's 100 games but 1,000 people, okay, the chances of someone buying your game on that kind of market increases substantially. Okay, because if you think about it, even though there's only 1 in 100 chances, okay, there's 1,000 people. Okay, that's a minimum, okay, of 10 people seeing your game. Okay, once they see your game, and 100 games, if like the system's really good, and like you can look at like 30 games at a time, something like that, you can look through 100 games super quickly and easily. Okay, so you look through all their games. You try to find which one you want to buy. Even if mine's not advertised, it's, one person buys, likes the game, reviews it. It's 3.5 stars. Someone else sees it, and they keep happening, and they keep seeing the game, so they keep buying it. So they do outsell. But because it's a smaller market, again, with less choices, there's more of a narrow view. So your choices are lessened, and you get more of an illusion of choice and less of a free choice. Okay? So, on a market like Steam, where there's thousands upon thousands of games, yes, it is unlikely to get your game seen. So it's your job to get advertised. It's your job to try to get a YouTuber to play it. It becomes a developer job to get it out there. Steam's not in the market of getting your game out there. It's getting your game on a platform to be sold. It's your job to advertise it. It's your job to promote it. Your job to make it part of sales and stuff like this. Like, there's games on Steam, like, I truthfully never even knew existed. And I didn't even find them on Steam. I found them on another platform altogether, and then found out they were on Steam. Alright? So, that just because it is, I'm not defending one way or the other. I'm informing y'all. It's not because Steam is a bad company, but because the choices are lessened. And if you're a game dev making a really good quality game, putting it as many platforms as possible does increase your platform thing. But let's say you could only pick one thing. As much as I kind of dislike the consoles because they have such a narrow market, the console is the best place to place a game. Okay, because a console has such little choices in their game, especially Nintendo's games. Okay, because Nintendo is always looking for variety, and I don't know what it is, but the Nintendo market and all that. If you actually look at the statistics of games bought, Nintendo market versus the Sony and Microsoft markets of the consoles, more indie games are bought on Nintendo and stuff like that when they allow indie games. Okay, so selling to a Nintendo company that doesn't sell indie games very often and all that gives the highest possible chance of your game being seen and discovered, so people are buying it. That's why it outsells. Not because Steam's a bad company, not because people dislike Steam, but because it is a smaller marketplace. Back to my example with the Blue Bell. I like Blue Bell. That's why I keep saying it. I want some ice cream. So that's also why I'm saying ice cream and using ice cream as an example a lot of times. Blue Bell will not always outsell, but because price differences and stuff like that can also make a difference too. But let's say Blue Bell at Walmart was selling for the same amount as McLeod's or your local gas station. Okay, and it's selling at the same price. Walmart has 10 to 20 to 30 different types of ice cream in their section. Okay, so people are less likely to go for Blue Bell. They just reach in there, grab a pint of whatever vanilla they have, or they see a name brand that's like, ooh, that sounds nice. I'll try that name brand and stuff like that. So they are outside. Now I'm using Blue Bell, and a lot of people are gonna say, no, Blue Bell will outsell Walmart. Everyone loves Blue Bell, but the whole thing is supposed to be a generic thing. So let's take Bordeaux Valley's brand, okay, which is what my actual local store sells. That sells there, I guarantee, at Brookshire's, because one, it's a lesser known thing, okay. So in a bigger market, lesser known things typically get kicked to the side. Two, because it's in a smaller environment, there's less to choose from. So it could be the best in a small environment, or even be a mediocre in a small environment, but because it gets seen more often, it gets sold more often. Now, we only got about 20 or so seconds left in his video, so let's finish this off real quick.
I'm not even going to hold the developer of Aid Simulator, Buncho Dudes, of course it's called that, accountable for Aid Simulator. Valve is accountable for Aid Simulator. Valve's always been accountable.
Why? Give me one good reason why the creator is less responsible for the person who distributes it. That's like saying a faulty product is the fault of Amazon or fault of UPS for shipping it. Okay? Why? Why is the developers in this day and age not being held responsible for what they create? Just again, wanted to put that out there. I want to know why. Okay. Last 11 seconds.
For this shit that goes up unvetted and fully available to cause all sorts of long-term trouble. And that's why Valve endorses Aid Simulator.
But again, do they endorse it? They don't. They don't endorse it. At least in my opinion, they do not endorse it. They give you a service. And I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please send some love my way so I know to make more of these. And I don't even know how to close this video out. But his narrow-mindedness and his lack of overarching view upsets me. And unfortunately, this is part of what I believe to be wrong with people nowadays. They have such a narrow view and they lock themselves into just that view, that they don't challenge themselves, they don't let themselves see or learn other ideas, they don't let themselves learn at all. And it causes faulty views that cause faulty projects or faulty policies. Don't let people like him attack Steam. Don't let them attack. Educate yourself. Don't take just my word on it. Don't take just his word on it. Don't take just anybody's word on it. Educate yourself. Watch videos of people like us talking about it. Watch other people's videos. Read about it. I have the Steam's blog in there. Read it. See what you get comprehended from it. And again, I'm going to ask again. Can someone please tell me in what way does to y'all who's at fault for a bad game? The developer, person selling the game, or the buyer of the game? Okay, now let me ask you the exact same question but slightly differently worded. Who's at fault for buying? Well, let me phrase it. Okay, who's at fault for the bad game, and who's at fault for the marketplace wanting the bad game, and who's at fault for buying the bad game? Let me know your opinions down below in the comments. I haven't read the chat during this, so sorry if anyone tried to contact me during the chat or anything. I honestly have not read it. Highly doubt anyone even viewed my video, if anyone ever will. But I do want to go ahead and put some of those points out there and just kind of talk. So I've been doing this for about 2.5 hours now. So have a most wonderful night. Good night, everybody. Sweet dreams, and a wonderful good morning to. Talk to you guys later.